You're listening to another Conversation with Faye podcast, the voice of the untold stories.
Hello, Lauren. How are you?
I'm awesome. Thank you, Faye. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. And thank you for giving me your time to have a little bit of a chat about who you are and why you do what you do. What inspires you to do what you do?
Well, I think one of the major things that inspires me is because I'm old. And I mean that in a very genuine but funny way.
Old? What do you mean by old?
What do I mean by old? What I mean by old is I worked in brand management before the internet. So
Really?
that's old, isn't it?
So how long ago was that?
Ancient. So why that drives me and why I'm so passionate about that is that the opportunity for us today to share our message with the world and to get in front of hundreds of thousands of people and to positively impact the world are so much more available to us today than they've ever been before. When I worked in brand management years ago for Saatchi and Saatchi and Clemminges and Ogilvy's and so on, before the internet, it was really expensive and far more difficult to reach people. So you either had the TV, the radio, billboards, magazines, maybe a bit of direct marketing,
Yellow pages.
Yeah, yellow pages, absolutely.
Papers.
But it all cost a lot of more money than today to reach people. So because of that, we had to really think about the strategy and the target audience and what we were trying to achieve, because you didn't want to get it wrong. You had no second chance. You know, you might launch a TV ad and it cost you thousands of dollars to get it on TV and then hundreds of thousands in media. And if it didn't work and you didn't get any sales, it was like, oh my goodness, we've wasted all this money. Yes. So people weren't prepared to just throw stuff out there. They would stop and think, how does this affect our brand? Is it using the right tone of voice? Is it targeting the right person? You know, what's the strategy, the big picture to it?
Yes.
So flip that into today, and this is what drives me, why I'm so passionate about what I do, is that it's far more easy to get out there. There's YouTube to have your own TV show. You can have your own magazine with a blog. You can have your own radio station with a podcast. Yeah. You know, you can do all these things yourself for very little amount of money and a bit of your own investment, which is awesome for entrepreneurs and for change makers and leaders.
Yes.
But at the same time, because it's easy, because there's very little barrier to entry and so many channels, everybody is doing it.
And they're not really doing it right, are they?
No, they're not thinking. They're just, oh my goodness, someone told me I should be blogging. I need a podcast. And they get all excited. And 4 episodes in, they realise that they've got to keep doing this and they're not getting listeners and they give up. Yes. And it isn't really their voice. It's not really their strategy. It doesn't fit with their brand. And worse, I think, the major thing, Faye, that really drives me is what I see killing most small businesses and making people just disbelieve that marketing works and giving up and saying, I can't afford to do this anymore. And it's called WOFTAM. W-O-F-T-A-M.
W-O-F-T-A-M.
Yeah.
What on earth?
It stands for waste of flipping time and money.
Yes. And how many of us do that? Waste our time. We spend a lot of time doing things that are really unnecessary when we can be more productive if we really understand who we are, what our brand is, and why we do what we do. So we have to know what our why is.
Yeah, what our purpose is.
Yep. When you ask them what their why is, they don't really know.
No, and it's not an easy thing for people to figure out either. I know I love Simon Sinek's codification, he calls it. He's codified why a why is so important, especially to the brain. So that, because the interesting thing, Faye, that hasn't changed since the interwebs arrived, after all those years of working in Saatchi's and having my own advertising agency, the thing that hasn't changed in decades and eons is how the human brain operates and the process of purchasing, whether that's buying someone's book, buying their beliefs, buying their processes or their programs, or they're listening to subscribing to a podcast or anything. The process that we use to do that hasn't changed.
Absolutely not. And you're not really, when it all boils down, what you're selling is actually you're selling yourself.
Yep.
And then the process flows on from there. Once they develop a rapport with you, they develop a trust, and they follow you for a period of time, then they may make a decision to have a conversation with you, or they may decide to buy from you. But they want to know who you are and know the reasons why you're passionate about what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. And Simon Sinek talked about it in that if you just do that, hey, this is what we do, there's no emotional engagement with that. Whereas if you tell people why you do what you do,
yes,
all of a sudden they realize you're passionate about it, you're driven by it, it's a really strong belief system that you have, and it creates, as you said, it creates purpose and meaning behind everything that you do.
You make it sound so simple, and I think that with the workshop that you're going to be doing when you come down to Melbourne, because you're going to be on my show on the 10th of September.
Just a morning, it's 4 hours working with me on your personal brand, which is awesome.
Beautiful. And just a little bit more about what you're going to be doing at the workshop.
Absolutely. So the workshops, and I've held loads of these. I've got so many people who've got so much out of them. And the number one thing they come back always with is, I'm now so much clearer on how I'm going to promote myself and what I'm going to do compared to being overwhelmed, which is really awesome. But the first part is all about your single-minded purpose and getting really clear on packaging your brand. So all of your knowledge and expertise and skills and everything, or how do you explain what you do and why someone should choose you, and your single-minded purpose for what your brand wants to be known for. And there's 5 key questions that I ask you, and we work on those together. We work on your true north, which is what your brand compass for yourself to keep you on direction, so that not only at the workshop do you get your clarity, but you know how to stay on track as well.
Beautiful.
We also do a bit of neuro branding, which is understanding how the brain sees brands and the meaning that the brain has for colours and imagery, and some of the amazing brands that are out there that are telling their story through their identity. And you don't even need to have experience with a business or with a particular brand to know what they're all about. And then at the end, there's a lot of tips around your target audience and exactly how to know who they are, and how to get what I call word of mouth marketing on steroids. It's called a cascade of influence to find in the marketplace, which is awesome. And then some tips and tools on how to use social media to build your brand, and lots of bits and pieces, and a copy of my book, of course, so which is a best-selling book, a guidebook that you can use.
That sounds absolutely wonderful. So you will be down here to run a workshop.
It'll probably be in central Melbourne. I'm just confirming the details of where we'll be, but that looks like it's likely to happen. And then, yes, I'm with you on the Monday, which will be, I'm so looking forward to it. We're going to talk about so much insight and such exciting things that your listeners can actually go, oh my goodness, I'd never thought about that before, and I'm going to do that straight away.
Fantastic. And I am so excited and looking forward to that, because I need to really sharpen up my brand, if I have one right now. And I'm looking forward to learning all about that and sharing your expertise on my show on Monday afternoon between 2 and 4. It's on 88.3 Southern FM every Monday. But this one will be on the 10th of September. Lauren Clemmet will be down in Melbourne to share her expertise with the listeners, and also with the workshop, which will go for 3 to 4 hours. And there will be details about that throughout the time from now until the workshop. It will be on Facebook, and we'll put it through the social media so that everybody knows, so that they can register.
Absolutely. Awesome. And Faye, my usual hourly rate to work with someone one-to-one is it's $297. And the workshop is exactly the same price, and you get 4 hours with me.
That is amazing. And I mean, you know, that time spent with you is so valuable, and it is an investment for anyone who wants to turn up to the workshop. And really, if they're serious about being an entrepreneur, they will be there.
Yeah. It really is for people who are sick of wasting time and money on marketing that doesn't work. And they're overwhelmed and they just don't know what they should and shouldn't be doing. But what I was going to say, Faye, is especially for your listeners and the people who love you as much as I do with what you do, I can give them a code to get $100 off.
Fantastic.
So just all they have to do is just follow the links that Faye has, and I'll make sure that coupon code is available to you to hand out to people. And yeah, $100 off. So
Fantastic.
It's only $197 to spend 4 hours with me, which is awesome. And
that is invaluable time. So fantastic. I'm excited, and I'm really looking forward to having you down here, Lauren, and making a difference and doing something that matters for people who want to be successful in their business and become that true entrepreneur.
Yep, brilliant. And just feel like they are living their life on purpose.
Yeah, living that dream. Living that dream. Yeah. Thank you so much, Lauren.
You're welcome. I look forward to catching up with you on the show.
Yes, I do too. Thank you so much for that time.